Well, guys, I guess I'm mainstream today because I'm talking about this trilogy. Everybody on the internet right now, on YouTube, is talking about this trilogy, and I guess just to get it out of the way, just say I've done it. I kind of hurts me to make this video because, like I said, every single YouTube channel's doing it right now. But I planned it a long time ago, and I've kind of wanted to do it. And you know what? Just screw it. I'll do it. I wanted to do this video, wanted to make this video for a minute, so we're just going to get out of the way. But today we are discussing the David Gordon Green Halloween trilogy. One by one, just to kind of give my thoughts on this trilogy. Do I think it holds up? Do I think it works compared to the other sequels? How do I feel about this trilogy as a whole, overall? All that good stuff. Halloween 2018, we're going to be starting off with. I have a basic Blu-ray of it. I'm assuming I'm going to get maybe an upgrade, possibly. We'll see. But 2018's Halloween, big deal back when this came out. I was pretty hyped because this was before there was a lot of reboots coming out. There were still quite a bit. It wasn't like this was the first reboot to come out, but this was before before this movie became a hit. And so everybody after this film started copying it, basically. But Halloween 2018, I won't lie, I mean, it was a big deal. Everybody was hyped for it. The trailer hooked me, looked good to me. I liked the fact that they were talking about going back to the basics, making Michael Myers a human again. John Carpenter involved with the score. John Carpenter involved with, I think, writing and maybe producing as well. Like an associate producer. I think he was involved in those roles. So you brought John Carpenter back. Cool. He's heavily involved. You bring back Jamie Lee Curtis to kind of give her a better ending to her character Laurie Strode from compared to Resurrection. You've got David Gordon Green, a brand new vision for Halloween, known for his comedies, but here want to try his hand in some horror films. So I was like, okay, I'll give him a shot. You know, it's different. I appreciate how they're being a little more different with it. Had a lot of writers, and it's mainly known for it being written by Danny McBride. But it has 3 writers, and that's a lot for a Halloween movie. But so it was like interesting. It was different. I was looking forward to it. I remember me and a big group of people, we all went to the theater and seen this because this was kind of like Halloween growing up was the movie that we all watched. So I went with a big group of people, just a huge group of people to go see this movie in the theater, opening night. Crowded theater, was very, very hyped. I think I even wore my Halloween t-shirt there, and everybody was just ready for this movie. And initially, after we were done watching this film, I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was one of the better ones in the series. I had a lot of high hopes for it, a lot of high praise. Then I revisited it once it came out on DVD, and literally it was on the shelf, the DVD shelves for like cheap DVDs, like, you know, bargain, not even shelves, bargain bins, like $5, $3. And so I was like, that's not a good sign. But rewatching it, I think I've watched this movie at least 3 or 4 times. I think over time it's lessened a lot. I think there's a lot of factors to that. Number one is just how people were treating this movie, saying that it was better than the first movie, that it was better than any of the sequels, the true Halloween sequel. And when you're hearing it everywhere, like, that usually doesn't bug me. Like, opinions are opinions, whatever. But when you got fans attacking people over it and just people constantly burying the sequels. And I love the sequels. I love Halloween 2, 3, and 4. I like Halloween 5. I do like Halloween 6. So when people are burying these movies and ignoring all of the problems with these films, it was getting really annoying to me, and it usually doesn't affect me, but when it's everywhere, you can't help it. And this movie made a ton of money, and right after this, the reboot craze happened. I mean, you had Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you had a Wrong Turn reboot, or was it a remake? You had a Candyman reboot, you had a Hellraiser reboot, you had all these different things getting reboots. Ghostbusters Afterlife, all that unfortunate jazz. And I think Halloween 2018, overall, I think it's pretty good. It's pretty decent. It is technically one of the better ones in the series. I do think there's a lot of aspects I like about it. I think James Jude Courtney's one of the best Michael Myers. I think his mask looks really cool. I think Jamie Lee Curtis did a great job. Didn't mind how it was trying to take it in a different direction for this movie. Because in this movie, you kind of bought that this was a human still, and that Michael Myers was back to basics. Obviously, it changed in later sequels. But this is not my favorite of the trilogy anymore. It was, for a long time, this was my favorite of the trilogy. Not anymore. We're going to get kind of controversial with this video, rather. But this is no longer my favorite of the trilogy. But I do think it's a solid entry. It's not bad. It's not horrible. I think it has some issues. I think there's a lot of tone issues. And I really don't think the comedy meshes well with this movie. I think it looks very gray and dull. There's maybe a handful of scenes that actually look decent as far as cinematography and direction goes. But I think it's a solid slasher. Halloween 2018 is what it is. It works for what it is. This is my favorite of the David Gordon Green trilogy. Halloween Kills. And when I first seen it, had a completely different reaction to watching it compared to how I view it now. I first watched it and I was not a fan. I was not a fan of how they ended it. Was not a fan of how they had this really pointless, really stupid side plot, which I still don't like, but it doesn't bother me as bad. Where it's, oh, we're gonna have a mob in this movie, people hunting down Michael Myers, which has been done in Halloween 4, but we're gonna have this guy who they think is Michael Myers, who's really not. But, it's the message of the movie is how toxic people can be and how crowd mentality is bad and just so shoved down your throat. And that was a huge problem for me when I first seen this movie. When I first seen it, I thought it felt like a total filler movie. And then I rewatched it, got it on Blu-ray, obviously, rewatched it, and I think it's really hold up. It's done a total U-turn. I actually think this is one of my, dare I say, one of my favorite Halloween movies, which I know people are probably already exiting the video and disliking it because of that. But I think the reason why it works out of all three of them, it's straightforward. It's Michael Myers, badass mode, killing lots of people. And it's them following his blood trail back to the house and figuring out, what's Michael Myers doing. Real simple. I think that's why it works the most. It has a lot of problems. It's got dumb characters, which is a given for slasher movies. Doesn't really bother me that much. The worst part about the movie is the side plot. Is the idea that there's this mob and, evil dies tonight and them hunting down this guy and him committing suicide out of fear. And it's the message of the movie is, hey, don't be stupid, I guess. But I don't know. It's just having this really heavy-fisted message to it, and I really didn't dig that. I thought that was totally lame. I still think that's totally lame. But despite that, I think it's the best-looking movie in the trilogy. I love the way it's shot. I like how it's just, hey, you know what? The first one we did was kind of gory, kind of not. Let's go gory with this one. Let's give them some gore. Let's have Michael Myers go on a killing spree at 70 years old. Let's have some fun. And I'm down for that. Please give me some fun. Because 2018 is kind of slow, and that's why I don't put it up there as high as I did anymore, because it's just, in the trilogy, it's the slowest one to me. I know some people point to this one and say it's the slowest one, but we'll get to that in a minute. I got kind of a controversial opinion on that one too. But I think 2018 just drags a lot more, and it doesn't quite know what it wants to be. It's gory, then it's not. It's funny, then it's not. It's not really suspenseful, but it's trying to be suspenseful. It was like in between Halloween 1 and Kills, and it really didn't work. Kills was like, okay, we're going over the top, gory, stupid characters, crazy death scenes, insane special effects, mostly practical, which I appreciated. People shooting Michael Myers, blowing him away with guns, and him getting back up and grabbing the mask and putting it back on, almost like the boxing gloves, and fighting back, and, you know, rooting for Michael Myers. I will say, too, it has a really bad ending, which is why I would say I do like Halloween 5 more, I do like Halloween 4 more, I do like Halloween 2 more, and the first one in part 3. I do think the ending's pretty bad. The way they edit it to where they had this build up, like Michael Myers is going to fight back, and you slow-mo it. You slow-mo it, and you have a narration by Jamie Lee Curtis for some reason. I don't know, pretty much for no reason. You kill off this character that I thought was actually doing pretty decent in this movie, Karen. Judy Greer, she did actually a lot better in this movie acting-wise, and you kill her off in a lame way, and you end it in a lame way. And you end it in a way that doesn't even get followed up in the next movie. And Laurie Strode doesn't do anything in this movie, which honestly, I look at it as it's more of a positive than a negative, but it's kind of like, why is she even in this movie? But at least it was the granddaughter more, this is more her movie, this is more Karen's movie, this is just them doing their thing, them hunting down Michael Myers, focusing on them. And it's got a lot of gore, a lot of crazy blood, special effects, mayhem. I love the look of Michael Myers with a half-burnt mask. Such a cool look. The firefighters being killed all at once, pretty much. People getting stabbed in the throat. Him killing just groups of people. I do think it's the funnest one of the trilogy. I give it a big pass. I think it's a solid movie. I guess I could say it's one of my favorites. The flashbacks look pretty cool. And I think what even adds more to this movie, watch 2018 and then pop this one in right after. It really works. It works a lot if you do it that way. It works a lot as a centerpiece. So I overall do enjoy Halloween Kills. I like it more than 2018's Halloween. Then we get to the controversial one. 2023's, or is it 2022? I think it's 2022's Halloween Ends. Now, big shout out to my brother. He got me this as a gift. The Best Buy limited edition Steelbook 4K. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. But Halloween Ends. I seen it in the theater with some friends. And we all walked out and pretty much were all in agreement that we did enjoy this movie ultimately. However, I did have a lot of problems. And to me, this is the worst one of the trilogy. Technically, it's one of my lesser ranked Halloween movies. But it's a strange movie. Because it's so hard to pinpoint how I feel about this sequel. Because there are a lot of things that work in this movie. I don't mind the Corey Cunningham character. I don't. The guy that played him did a decent job. The kill scenes are very spread out, but I didn't mind how it was going for less of a slasher tone and more of a psychological horror tone. More of a character study of a brand new character. And I do think, while we could look at it as a dumb, stupid, awful move to have this character who we knew nothing about from the previous two movies, to bring him in this movie, a new actor, a new character, and have him be our lead. Some people say it's a dumb move. I'm conflicted, but part of me wants to say it's a very brave move. because we all knew what to expect from Halloween Ends. Michael versus Laurie. We all knew it was going to happen. We all knew Laurie and Michael were going to fight. We've seen Resurrection. We've seen Halloween 2. We've seen Halloween H2O. We've seen this before. And that's my argument for why I appreciate the storyline of this movie. Because we've already seen H2O did it brilliantly. I'm not a fan of H2O, but one of the best parts about that movie is the Laurie Strode arc of her character. It's done great in that movie. It's kind of untouchable. You can't really outdo it. So for this one to go into a different route with the story and surprising you with this new character and this new evil, this new darkness that's totally different from Michael Myers. And while he's trying to be Michael Myers, he ultimately is a totally different thing from Michael Myers. I didn't mind that. I like the idea that Michael Myers is a bit more beat up and broken down in this movie. Yes, it's a bit embarrassing that this young dude who's like a nerd looking guy can take down Michael Myers and like pretty much just beat the crap out of him and take his mask from him. That was a bit much. There could have been more Michael Myers in this movie. That's another thing. Michael Myers is not even a supporting character in this movie. He's kind of a cameo. Like, he's there, but barely. And I don't mind the look of Michael Myers with the mold and the mask and him in the sewers. Like Pennywise, I guess you could say. I didn't mind that. A lot of people were comparing to it. I thought it was fine. Didn't bother me. I thought it was interesting how you weren't sure, was it possession? Was there some kind of evil there with Corey Cunningham? Or was it all him? And they leave you with a lot of questions like that. Was it all evil, possession, darkness? Or was it a person that just lost his mind? And it's up to you to decide. And I like that. So I think a lot of things work in this movie. But there are a lot of things that don't work. Like I said, you've got to pick what you're doing. You're either going to go a whole different route, which for me, my opinion's very controversial. In my opinion, you kill Laurie off in the opening. Now I know, once again, dislikes. I'm going to be getting, people telling me that I'm not a horror fan, not a Halloween fan. How would you react if you went to the theater and it starts out how this movie ends? Michael fighting Laurie and she dies. You'd be like, what? You might be a little bit pissed. Oh my God, it's another Halloween Resurrection. Or if he doesn't kill her, have her get injured. But I'm saying have her die, but have her die in a better way than Resurrection. The reason why Resurrection doesn't work, because it was out of nowhere, out of place, and she didn't do anything to fight back against Michael Myers. Except, oh, here's a rope, and you're upside down, and I'm going to pull the mask off for some reason, making her look like an idiot. Here you could have had her fight Michael Myers. The same thing in this movie's ending is how you open it. But they're both bloodied up and beaten, and she tries to kill Michael Myers, but she can't. She ends up dying. They both lay there. They bleed out. They die. But, of course, Michael Myers raises back up. And because of Laurie Strode, that's why he's all broken down and brittle and not able to move, because of her fighting him. Makes it a lot better. Then you can move on to new characters, like Corey Cunningham, like the granddaughter. You have a lot of time with new characters, moving it on to the new, and creating a new storyline. I think that would have worked a lot better, having the Corey Cunningham, Michael Myers stuff, having a lot more of that in the movie, and less of him, I'm going to wear a leather jacket and drive a motorcycle and be this badass, and the granddaughter being an idiot, unlikable character, which for some reason, from kills to end, she went from being the fan favorite to like one of my favorite characters in the series to, I don't even like her character in this movie. She's an idiot. Can't tell this guy's crazy, that he's out of his mind. You got some real cringe moments, like the whole love story between her and Corey Cunningham. That was all cringe. I thought it just didn't know what it wanted to be. That's the biggest problem with it. It didn't want to take risks. It wanted to introduce ideas that I'm like, oh, cool, and not go with it. They're just going to kill Corey Cunningham off in a lame way. Just broken neck. He's dead. So all that 2 hours you just watched was nothing. And all it is Michael Myers get into a fight, and like a 60-year-old Jamie Lee Curtis taking down this freaking boogeyman, this evil incarnate, this guy who can't die. The more he kills, the more he ascends. And she just beats him, basically a fist fight, and kills him that way, and they grind him to some hamburger meat and a giant meat grinder. Stupid, horrible, the worst ending in the series. I will take Halloween 6 producer's cuts ending. I will take Halloween 6 theatrical cuts ending. I will take Halloween Resurrections ending, with Michael Myers waking up and going, "Arr!" I will take Halloween 5's ending, as lame as that is. You name an ending and I will prefer it over this. This has the worst ending in the entire franchise. It is so stupid. It is so over the top. It is so silly. And ideas like that is why it's one of my lesser Halloween movies. Could have been one of my favorites. Could have been a very daring movie. It took chances and risks. Took a little bit of risk, but didn't go all the way with it. And so it ends up being a mess. And so you have people that love 2018 and Kills that hate this movie, and you have people like me that can appreciate the differences but don't appreciate because it doesn't go all the way with it. And that's the biggest problem with Halloween Ends. It doesn't really commit to anything, doesn't really know what it wants to be. And for it to end a series, you gotta know what you're doing, you gotta know what you want. So what you want? Yeah, it ends in kind of a fart in the wind. And that's not how Halloween should end. We deserve a better ending than this. I agree with that. I think ultimately with this film, I do like it. I do appreciate how they were leaning to be different and doing some slightly different ideas. But like I said, it just does it in a lame way, and there are ideas and moments that are just stupid. I don't want to hear this cringe dialogue between Laurie Strode and this sheriff guy and their love story, and talking about, man, what the hell are they talking about? Freaking raspberries or something? I don't even know what they were talking about, man. It was something stupid. It was really stupid. Some real cringe conversation they were having. And they're flirting to the whole movie. I didn't care about that. Laurie Strode in this movie feels way off. Jamie Lee Curtis's performance and her dialogue is real over the top in this movie to where it doesn't work. There are moments where it wants to be serious, and then it wants to have a group of nerd bullies straight out of the 80s bullying a grown man. And us being like, we feel sorry for this guy. I'm like, this dude's a freaking wimp. He's getting bullied by kids in school, some 80s bullies with mullets and stuff. What is this garbage? And then there are scenes where Corey Cunningham will disappear out of nowhere, and then he'll be human, and then he won't be human. So what's going on there? You have just a lot of just the granddaughter being stupid, Laurie being stupid. It just has a lot of silliness to it. And it has a very bad tone. Things that just don't work at all. But yeah, Halloween Ends is a very mixed bag. It has things I love in it, and it has things I hate in it. So I think overall it's an okay movie. I like it. I do like it. I do think it's an okay movie. I can't say it's a great movie, but I like it. I appreciate the different stuff. But overall, the trilogy, to me, doesn't work as a trilogy following the first movie, because it really did lose, once again, what made the first movie good. It wasn't gore. It wasn't crazy twists with characters. It wasn't what they were focusing on with these sequels. It was suspense, slow build, creepiness, bare necessities of, and I almost sang it like the Jungle Book song, bare necessities. But the bare necessities of a horror film is Halloween 1. It's real simple. And they tried so hard to follow it up. And I think as a trilogy, I like Halloween Kills. I like Halloween 2018. But I will definitely take Halloween 2 and 3 and 4 over these movies. And at least 5 and 6 over Halloween Ends. But, yeah. Anyways, that's my thoughts on the David Gordon Green trilogy. I think overall, it's an okay trilogy. I don't know if it's one of the better ones in horror. But it kind of is what it is. It works in some areas, not in other areas. And it's definitely not the most flawless trilogy in horror. I don't know where that's coming from, but I definitely disagree with that. But anyways, y'all, thank you guys so much for watching the review. Or really, it's not a review, it's a discussion video. But thank you guys so much for watching the video. Take care. I'll be leaving a link to my Instagram and my Letterboxd in the description below. So if you want to follow me on those and see what I'm up to, I will leave that in the description below. Also, comment down below your thoughts on the David Gordon Green Halloween trilogy. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Let me know in the comments below. But anyways, y'all, that's going to be it for this video. Thanks so much for watching. Take care. The Explorer of Horror is out. Peace.